Hello everybody. Okay, I promised you a video today, guys, because we are still struggling a little bit with division. So in order to demonstrate exactly what we did today in class, I'm going to use number 5 from your homework. Number 5 from your homework should look like this. 62 is our divisor. We talked about that too. 7,342. Okay, guys, be patient. My pen is acting up. There we go. 7,342 is our dividend. We talked about before we start to divide, we need to make sure that every number has a defensive partner. We know that something is going to go above every single number, whether it's an X, a 0, or a number. Every number has to have something above it, like a partner. Okay, so let's go ahead and start dividing. Oh no, let's not start dividing. Let me put my little checklist. Guys, when you're doing your homework tonight, I want you to put the same checklist that we used today in class. That is, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? We're going to run down that checklist, make sure we're hitting every single letter, and make sure we're hitting every single step in the division process. Okay, now notice, guys, over here, I have my little bitty black boxes. In class, we talked about using a cover-up method when numbers get too big. That's what my little bitty black boxes are for. So we're going to use those. If you need to use your black boxes before I use my black boxes, please by all means, use that cover-up method anytime you feel like the numbers get too big. Okay, now, my parents that are watching, I'm going to demonstrate what that means. Cover-up method, numbers getting too big, and stuff like that, because we talked about that today in class as well. All right, so we talked about this divisor acting like a shoe size. So what we said was, we're going to pretend like that is our shoe size. 62 is our shoe size. And if 62 is our shoe size, we get to ask a question of every single digit that is on our dividend, like the number 7. If you wear a size 62, can you put your foot into a size 7? Of course, the answer would be no. So we would put an X right there in that box. Or some of us prefer zeros. Either way, both work. Now let's go on to the next number. 62 is still our shoe size, but instead of this time, can we put our foot into a size 7? What about a size 73? Can we put our foot in there? The answer would be yes. It would be too big, but our foot goes in the shoe. So I put a check mark here. I need a number there. I need a number there. And I need a number there. So right now we're getting ready to divide not 62 into that whole number, 7,342. Nope, we're not there yet. We are stopping at the number 73. So I like to have the kiddos put a little line right there. That's our stop sign. That reminds us that we are only dealing with 62 and 73. So for right now, don't pay attention to any of the numbers that are behind the line. All right, now our first step is to divide. How many times does 62 go into 73? Now, some of y'all are on it already, and you're thinking 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. For some of us, though, those numbers are just too big to think about. And if 62 and 73 are too big for you to think of, that's why I have my little black boxes here, because we practice using the cover-up method. Cover-up method means all of this number, every part of the number, is just too much for me. So we're going to cover up one digit off the end, the digit in the ones place. What that does is it makes the number look smaller. Is it really smaller? No, it's not, because we both know that there's numbers underneath those black boxes. But it makes it look more manageable. It's easier to divide 6 into 7 than it is 62 into 73. So 6 goes into 7. How many times? 1, you say? Okay, I agree. I'm going to put a 1 in the box. Now, I immediately want to uncover. No, I didn't want to move that one. But I do want to use my box. There we go. I want to uncover. Well, look at that. I didn't even know I could, take the tool away. That is awesome. Okay, I'm doing all kind of crazy stuff. Okay, so there we go. 62 goes into 73 one time. We got that one using the cover-up method. Doesn't matter, we got it nonetheless. So I just divide it. Next, I'm going to multiply. Every time I put a number in this box, my job is to multiply with it next. 1 times 62 is 62. Next, I'm going to subtract. Thus, this is why these two numbers are stacked on top of each other like that, because it makes it nice and easy to subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. 7 minus 6 is also 1. I just subtracted. Now I'm going to compare. My job is to compare 11 to 62 and make sure that my 11 is smaller than my divisor. And it is. Next, I'm going to bring down. There's a 4 sitting up here. We only bring down one digit at a time. We talked about that today in class. Once I brought down, my number is not 11 anymore. It's 114. So I went through divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Now it's time to start all over again at the beginning of the cycle with division. So my job is to divide 62 into 114. Remember, sometimes these numbers are too big for some of us. And if that's the case, and you don't know where to start, use the cover-up method. Just like that. Now, instead of dividing 62 into 114, much bigger numbers, we're going to divide 6 into 11. How many times does 6 go into 11? Y'all said 1. I agree. I just divided. Next, I'm going to multiply again. We know that every time we put a number in those boxes, our job is to multiply with it. 1 times, oh, let's go back and uncover our numbers. Not that. There we go. Let's uncover my numbers. Okay. Give me a minute, y'all. I'll get it. That was a 4 right there. Okay, there we go. We're trying to, what did we just do? We're going to multiply 1 times 62. Not 1 times 6, but that was a 62. Don't forget, like I almost did, to uncover your numbers. 1 times 62 is 62. We just multiplied, but now we're getting ready to subtract. 114 minus 62. 4 minus 2 is 2. 11 minus 6 is 5. Now I need to compare. Make sure that the 52 I got is smaller than my divisor of 62. It is. Now let's bring down. I've got one more number up here. It needs to come down. Turning 52 into 522. We just brought down, so it's time to start all the way over again at the beginning of the cycle with division. So now my job is to divide 62 into 522. Those are some really big numbers. So let's cover up again. I took the last digits off, the numbers that were in the ones place. That looks a little bit better. 6 into 52 versus 62 into 522 just makes it look a little bit more manageable. So, guys, this is when knowing our multiplication facts come in so super handy, because that 6 times what number gets me close to 52? That should be 8. Knowing those facts, guys, that's the key to division. Can't divide without being able to multiply. They are one and the same except for when it's opposite the other. All right, let me go back before I forget and uncover. Now, I did just divide. I need to multiply next. Every time we put a number in the box, job is to multiply with it. 8 times, not 6, but 62. So we're going to do that one off to the side here. 8 times 62. 8 times 2 is 16. We're going to carry our 1. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 1 more is 49. Now in class, we also talked about sometimes the numbers that we put in the box may be a little off, but they give us a really good starting point. For example, if I would have multiplied 8 times 62 and got something like really big, that tells me that 8's too big and I need to bring that number down one. But it looks like 496 will fit in quite nicely right here underneath 522. I divided, I just multiplied, I'm getting ready to subtract, so let's do our subtraction. Please remember to borrow when it's time to borrow. 2 minus 6, can't do that. Gotta borrow from the neighbor. The 2 becomes a 1. The 2 becomes a 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. 1 minus 9, can't do that either. Gotta go next door, borrow from the neighbor. The neighbor becomes a 4. The 1 becomes an 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. I just subtracted. I need to compare. As long as my 26 that I got is smaller than my divisor of 62, and it is, I can keep going. Now, it's time to bring down. Except for when I reach up here to bring the next number down, there isn't one. That means that we are done. So for the purpose of number 5, our answer is 118 with a remainder of 8. Now guys, for tonight's homework, it's okay to write your remainder like this. I know last week when I was gone, you talked about writing the remainder like a fraction. We're gonna get there. But right now, we're just making sure that those steps of division, the Does McDonald Sell Cheeseburger steps, divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down, we're trying to perfect that before we go any further. So, if you need to pause, rewind, replay this video, be my guest. If you're still confused after the video on any of your homework, just have mom, dad, guardian, aunt, cousin, uncle, somebody message me on Remind or on Facebook, which is where this video will be posted, or just plain old email me and I'll get back with you. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.